Who's ready for a photo shoot? If you're a small business owner or just a girl's girl and want to be doing a photo shoot, I'm going to walk you through today how to plan one because I think this is a very important part and it's not something that all photographers offer. So it's also good for you to have this in motion. If you're new here, my name is Anna Pautassi. I am the owner of Dreaming Big Lifestyle. I am a business coach and marketing strategist. So I'm very excited to dive into this topic. If you're a business owner and you haven't had a photo shoot done, you will need one. You should have one because stock images, stock videos work until they don't work. What I mean by that is that everyone starts using it because there's limited resources on which ones you can use that are royalty free unless you're paying for them. But ultimately, if you're paying for it, might as well do your own photo shoot because it's you. Like, that's what makes your business unique. It's you, your team, what you offer, and stock footage is never going to be able to capture that. That's why it's important to do a photo shoot. So let me walk you through how to prep for this. So first of all, you need to figure out what this photo shoot is about. If it's a product photo shoot, person photo shoot, lifestyle photo shoot, it doesn't really matter. You know about that. Let me walk you through the steps to take. The first one is going on Pinterest, love a good Pinterest, and create a mood board. So basically, start a board and start putting in images that you're finding on Pinterest that you're like, this is the vibe that I'm going for. This is an angle I want to capture. This is a shot I want to make sure I have. I really like the lighting in these images. I really like the poses that they're doing. I really like the display that they're doing. Things like that, and start adding them to this board. Once you've done that, this is going to basically create like your overall theme of what it is that you're capturing. Sometimes I come up with ideas, like maybe a recent one that I did, the concept was like bringing flow and femininity into business, which is usually seen as like a very professional suit, uptight. I didn't want to use that word, but it's the only one that's coming to mind, right? So I was like, that was my theme. My theme was like flow and business, which is very like whimsical, but still that professional elevation and luxury that goes with it. So put your mood board together. If you have an overall theme, even better. If you don't, that's okay. That's why the mood board is important because now especially when you're there, if it's not something that you're comfortable doing or haven't done before, now you have a point of reference of like, these are poses that I can try and see how they come out, right? Otherwise, you're kind of going into it blind and it's a little bit more intimidating when you do that. Now, once you have your mood board, search for a photographer if you don't have one in mind. And when you're doing this, I think this is an area that some people is like a hit or miss. And what I mean by that is that when you're looking at photographers, you really want to make sure that they capture the vibe that you're going for. So if you're noticing that like their website or their Instagram feed is very moody and that's not what you're going for, they're likely not going to be a good match for you. And a lot of the times this is where the hit or miss happens, where they're just like, well, they're a photographer, they can capture anything they want. Sure, but a lot of them have a specific way that they photograph. Like, it is an art form, right? So it's like, if you don't like that painting, why would you buy it? Why would you get one commissioned by them? So find a photographer, ask for recommendations, see who's out there, and look at the kind of vibe that they capture that they tend to do. If it's moody and you're not going for moody, they're probably not an ideal match. Reach out to them, get a quote, send them your Pinterest board. This is the inspiration that I'm going for. Is this something that you can capture? They will tell you up front. You know, some of them only focus on wedding photography. Some of them only focus on headshot photography. Some of them only do the moody, right? So you have to find the one that matches what you're going for, okay? Once you've done that, figure out your outfits. Okay, what are you going to be wearing? How many outfits are you going to wear? Normally in your conversation with the photographer, is it going to be a 1 hour shoot, a 2 hour shoot? 1 hour shoot, you can probably do about 2 outfits, maybe 3, but that's pushing it. So keep that in mind. Probably 2 outfits is good. If you're doing a 2 hour photo shoot, you might be able to do 4, maybe even 5 outfits. Keep in mind that if it's a 1 hour photo shoot, you're probably only doing it in one location. You don't really have the time to go to a different location, right? So for example, I did one, I'm in Toronto in Ontario, Canada, and I did one at the Distillery District. So if you're familiar with this area, it is very like historical looking, and I really like that vibe because it made me feel very like European, and that was sort of the concept that I was going for in that photo shoot. But what worked about it was that because it's a large enough area, of course it's outdoors, so weather permitting, I was able to kind of capture different essences and vibes and almost make it seem like it was different locations without actually having to drive anywhere. So keep that in mind as well, that you might want to find a location where you can kind of like different angles allow you to make it seem like you have changed locations, although you haven't, because in a 1 hour photo shoot, you're not going to have the time to like pack and drive somewhere else. So figure out your outfits and then figure out your props. Like, what are you bringing to this? If it's your first time doing a photo shoot and you don't sell a product, if it's a product photo shoot, bring your products. But if you don't sell a product, you want to have something. Like, you want to have a coffee mug so that if you're feeling a little awkward, you have something to play around with and like do certain shots and like have some fun with, right? So bring a couple of props with you too. Obviously, think about the extension of like, how does this represent my business? And if you're an entrepreneur, sometimes it's like things that represent you or things that represent your program. So for me, a lot of my themes are around travel. So like, I'll bring with me a carry-on bag. I'll bring with me my passport. I'll bring with me a vintage camera, things that I feel are encompassing of the travel and that are an extension of me, because ultimately I want these pictures to be like, this is Anna. So that when people are looking at it, there's that brand recognition going on of like, I know exactly who posted this without even having to look at the name. So after you get your props all figured out, pack them, you're good to go. Then create a shot list. Some photographers will do this with you on your discovery call. Others will not. It kind of depends on who you're working with, what your package entails and all that. But basically, this is more so, I create these for myself, and I use them more so to kind of make sure that I'm using my time adequately. I will do this when I do photo shoots for clients, which are more for social media, so it's not professional camera. I'm not working with a photographer. It's just me coming in with my camera. But I will put together a shot list so we know exactly what we're covering, the areas of, like, if we're doing it inside the house, the areas of the house that we're going to be at. And I use images as well. So then that way the client is like, oh, okay, I can do that pose. Or like, oh, that's what you're looking for. Yes, I can visualize that, right? So I create a shot list that really outlines, like, in this outfit, these are the things that I want to capture. I want to capture myself on my cell phone. I want to capture myself using this prop. I want to capture myself on the laptop. I want to do one where I'm like on a stool doing this, right? So the shot list really allows you to like get concise and a lot of clarity and make sure that you're going to capture exactly what you're looking for. Because when you're in the moment, you start having fun, which is amazing. That's what you want. But ultimately, you want to make sure that you're capturing the things that you want. Then last but not least, have a backup plan. And what I mean by that is this last photo shoot that I was going to do, the intention was to do it outdoors. I even like went and like scoped out some areas that we could do the photo shoot at for locations, and then it was a rainy day. So I needed a backup plan, which I had one. But just keep that in mind. A lot of the times if you're doing this like in studio or indoors, you don't really need a backup plan. But if you're doing it outdoors, just keep in mind that weather permitting, like, are you okay for your photo shoot now to be like in the rain, which sometimes that looks amazing, but again, you have to go hand in hand with the vibe that you're going after. So keep that in mind. So just to recap, when you're planning for your photo shoot, first of all, put together a mood board, a Pinterest board of the overall theme that you want to capture. What are some shots, pictures, all that. Figure out the outfits that you want to wear, which a lot of them you're probably going to pull out of that Pinterest board, because ultimately you're going to start seeing a pattern of like, well, what kind of clothing people are wearing and the ones that you gravitated towards. Then get your props, and then create a shot list. And if your original plan is to do it outdoors, have a backup plan in case that does not work out. Now, if you want help putting together a photo shoot, or, just kind of like doing some business planning, whether you're like, I'm figuring out my social media, I need help with that, I have planning sessions available. These are 90-minute calls where we come on virtually and we chat about your business. Like, you can come to me with some initial questions of like, I want to figure out my social media, I want to launch a new course, I want to do this and that, and we will work together in that 90-minute to create a plan, to figure out any blocks that are coming up. And then I take all that and I put together a step-by-step plan. When I say this, like, people can't visualize what that looks like. This is a PDF that can have up to like 12 pages of details for this thing. So for social media, step 1, this. Step 1.1 is this. Step 2 is this. So you literally can just take this and do it at your own pace of taking action, but you have your path of clarity to make sure that you're going to reach your end goal. If you're interested in these, I will leave the link in the description so you can check it out and see an example of what this session the planning session PDF looks like.